Hi there and welcome back. This video concerns installing Virtio-manager under Linux Mint onto a laptop. And it has to do with the driver issues I've talked about in a previous video. As you may recall, I had issues trying to install Windows 10 on a laptop. And that's because I was using version 20H2. 20H2 apparently doesn't have all the drivers this laptop required. However, the newer version, the 22H2, does in fact install on the laptop with no issues. So what I want to point out here today is that when you do your ISO file down here, you start your virtual machine manager and you create a new machine. Notice right here, this browse local. I went to my downloads. I created a special folder for virtual machine ISOs. And right there's what I used. Notice right now it has a 1 on it. The thing I want to point out is that, get back here. I added that 1 on it after I installed this Windows 10 right here, version 22H2. And what happens now, because I put a 1 in that file name, which was the source when I created this version, if I try to run it now, I get this error, cannot start it. It needs this file that's in my home, win, downloads, virt-machine ISOs, and that file name. So this was a surprise to me because I'd already deleted that file. And because I deleted it, then I can't run this Windows anymore. Unfortunately for me, it was version 20H2 that was installed on here, and I deleted that when I upgraded to the new 22H2. So I had to go ahead and delete this thing. I had to install this 22H2 without the 1 in the file name. And it installed fine, so then I put the 1 in the file name to see if it would start, and it wouldn't start, as you just saw. So it's very important that I get rid of this 1, and now it will start up. So I just want to point this out. You probably aren't aware of that. I certainly wasn't aware of it, but I broke my Windows installation, my Windows virtual machine, by deleting that file. So that's one thing I want to point out. Next thing I want to point out is that if you right-click on this file and you do a verify and you ask for the checksum, it takes it a little bit of time to calculate the checksum. But here's what I found out. I've downloaded 2 different versions of this file because the first version failed, it didn't work. So I downloaded a second version. I ran a checksum on these 2 files and checksums didn't match. So what the heck's going on here? It came right from the Microsoft Windows site. So they had different checksums, so I knew the files were different. Now the question, which one's wrong? So I went back and downloaded a 3rd copy of this file and did the checksum on that one. And I found out which one was correct because 2 of them had the same checksum. So I deleted the oddball, which didn't have the same checksum. And then the installs worked fine. That was part of the problem with my laptop installation. I was getting to the expanding files part and it would die. Well, I finally got smart enough to look up the error code, and the error code said it was having trouble reading the source installation file. So that's when I got onto this streak, and I determined that, yes, that was a bad file. The checksum was different. So I just wanted to warn you about that. Even though I downloaded them both from the Windows official site, you would think the download packet validation would prevent this, but it didn't. So I suggest if you have a failure while this is trying to install under your Linux Virtio-manager Windows installation, then I would suggest that you do a checksum on 2 copies of it and make sure that you have 2 copies that agree. So at any rate, that explains that. Like I said, you do the verify right here, and it will give you the answer when you say I want to checksum. So that's one topic. So we've covered 2 things now. You got to keep this installation file you use, this ISO file you use, you got to keep it available. It's got to be in the same place where it was used when you installed the program, when you installed the Windows virtual machine. And secondly, if you're having troubles installing like I was, it's not the fault of Virtio-manager. It's the fault of the actual ISO file itself. So hopefully this clears the air and helps those that want to put Virtio-manager Windows on a laptop, an older laptop. The version 22H2 solves the driver problem. So that concludes this short video explaining these issues.